Hi, it's Dr. Sam, and welcome to the Pixie Packing Travel channel. Thank you so much for coming back, or thank you so much for joining me for the first time on this channel. I cover Run Disney, I cover healthy Disney planning, any kind of planning that involves special health needs. I've talked about my daughter's Make-A-Wish trip. I'm a dietitian and a family doctor and a functional medicine doctor, so lots of background in the health field. And then a huge Disney fan, Run Disney fan and participant, and a certified travel planner. So I can help you in any of these ways that involve any kind of packing, planning, or Run Disney events. And today is a Run Disney video. I will be talking about Run Disney and how to plan for Run Disney, because when you're a first timer, or maybe you've just run one Run Disney event before, maybe you didn't know ahead of time what you should have done, or maybe you need to know ahead of time what you should do. So this will run you through all that today, and we'll give you all the information on that. But first, please take a moment to like and subscribe, and potentially share this video out if you feel like anybody else in your universe would like to learn more about Run Disney. So first of all, let's talk about the sometimes stressful process of getting your Run Disney registration. Believe it or not, just like everything else at Disney, they make us work to spend our money there. It's very competitive to get registered for a Run Disney event. So that's the first thing I want you to remember, is that you have to be prepared for when the registration opens. So we call this process registration, or getting your bib. So if you are a Club Run Disney member, you are probably not watching this video because you're probably really well versed in Disney. But if you want to learn more about Club Run Disney, what it is, check out my other video on that from last year. So if you are not, you probably need to jump in the fray with the rest of us to try to get ready to register. You have to be online at least 5 minutes before the opening of registration. Now, I just participated in, or I just got my registration for the first event at Disneyland that they've done in several years. And, you know, that I had to remember that this was California time. The registration opened at 8. I'm in Colorado, so I had to be online at 7. And then they didn't even start at 7. It took them maybe 15 minutes to get the whole process started online. So you get put into a virtual queue. So you want to be ready for that virtual queue a few minutes ahead of time. The only race I've found that's not quite competitive that I was able to register for later is a springtime surprise weekend in Walt Disney World, and they have 10Ks and 5Ks and I think a half marathon. So that's an option if you just want to break into Run Disney but you're not ready the day of to register. So always check out the springtime surprise schedule if you're flexible on where you go and your dates. The only one with a full marathon, if you're jumping straight into that full marathon, is the Walt Disney World weekend marathon weekend, obviously in Walt Disney World. So that one, you would be, anything in Walt Disney World, you're obviously going to be on Eastern time, and you will then adjust your time zone accordingly and get up and get ready. You also want to be sure you are ready. So you want to have, if you're using a Disney gift card, which I use quite often, I have some saving tips there that I'll share with you. But if you're using a Disney gift card, you want to have that gift card copy and paste it onto, like, if you're using your phone or your desktop or your laptop, ready to go, so you can cut and paste that in. Because you do not, once you're in the queue and once you get that out of the queue and into that registration process, just because you're registering doesn't mean your spot is saved. That's the tricky part. You need to complete the registration before you actually get your spot. And I've heard of people struggling to find their credit card or their gift card, and then they lose their registration. So keep that in mind. Have your credit card and your gift card ready. Have your emergency contact information ready. They're going to ask you for that. So you want to have that ready to go when you're entering everything into the registration. If you're registering your kids, which I just did for the first time, I'm excited. They're going to run Disneyland 10K with me, 2 of my kids, 2 out of 3. One is absolutely not ever going to run a race because she doesn't want to, but the other 2 are willing to give it a go. And so we're going to train together, and I got them registered, and I had to go through, do my registration first, then go back and do their registration. And let's speak of kids here for a minute. They have to be, if you're going to do the 5K, they have to be 5. If you're going to do the 10K, they have to be 10. If you're going to do the half marathon, they have to be 12. And then the full marathon they can't do until they're 18. So keep that in mind if you're registering your kids. They also have kids races at all, usually most of the race weekends. So you can, have the kids do a little fun run if they're younger than 5, or if they just don't want to do the longer races. And it's a good way to get them interested in participating in the weekend. The Disneyland weekend also has yoga. If you don't, well, that sells out quickly too, but that's something if you don't want to run, or somebody with your party doesn't want to run, they could do the yoga event too. I think everything's sold out now. It went really quickly because it was the first time they've had it in a while. Now, another thing, if it's your first time, know that it's expensive, but you do not get park tickets as part of this expense. I never really thought that, but I was hoping, before I joined my first, and no, you don't get park tickets. You have to pay for those separately, of course. So if you want to go to the park later that day, just plan accordingly. But it is expensive. So you will be spending upwards of $140, maybe for the shorter races, all the way up. If people do the challenges, Dopey Challenge, Goofy Challenge, it's a different name for the different races. And they are even more expensive. Sometimes if you do the whole 5K, 10K, half marathon and marathon, you are going to be paying like $500+. So just budget for that and know that it's expensive and that you do not get a park ticket with that. You may not think that you have to plan out when you register 8 to 11 months ahead of time. You may not think, I need to figure out where I'm going to stay. But if you want to stay at a Disney World property or a Disneyland property, even more so because they only have 3 hotels on property, you do want to plan that ahead of time. Now, Disneyland, it's not as big of a deal. Anaheim, everything's localized right there. You can stay across the street and just walk across the street in the morning. So you can really stay anywhere close for the Disneyland race, and I'm excited about that. But for Disney World, you want to have transportation. You can drive, but it's trickier. So it would be best to plan ahead of time, book that on-site hotel, whether it be one of their what they call value hotels. Whether it be one of those, you'll still have bus transportation, and those will be cheaper. Moderate, like Port Orleans, Riverside, or French Quarter, or Caribbean Beach, or any of those, you'll have bus transportation. Or a deluxe, like the Polynesian, and you can see my other videos on hotels, or the Beach Club or Boardwalk. You are going to have bus transportation no matter what. Occasionally they'll have the monorails running, like for the big marathon weekend, like the Walt Disney World marathon weekend, but that's not always a given. So if you're trying to book a resort based on monorail accessibility to the race, that's not a given. So you're likely going to be taking a bus, and you're going to be taking it early. You're going to get up early, but we'll talk about that here shortly. So try to book a Disney adjacent or close on-site resort if you can. If you get a better deal somewhere else, just check with the hotel, see if they can get you there, or you could take a Uber or Lyft. Driving yourself you can do, but you really have to leave early. And let's speak of early. You probably want to get up at 2:15, 2:30. Have all your clothes ready. Sounds ridiculous, I know. But those races, it depends on the race, but they do start early, and you usually need to get on the bus at 3 in the morning. So plan ahead of time. Don't stay out late the night before. Don't stay out for fireworks the night before. Plan your park days for after the race so that you can really get a good night's sleep, eat well the night before, and get up on time. Set multiple alarms so that you can get up on time as well. Usually the 5Ks, like for a long weekend at Walt Disney World, are Thursday. The 10Ks are Fridays. The half marathon is Saturday. And then if it's a full marathon weekend, it's Sunday. Now, when they're the Wine and Dine or the Princess, they don't have that full marathon. So it's a different schedule. So check the schedule ahead of time. Know what day your race is going to be, obviously. The buses do run between 3 and 5 a.m. I wouldn't recommend getting on that 5 a.m. bus because you are going to be stressed, and you might have a hard time getting to your corral, meaning if you're a beginner, where you wait, where your number is, where your group of your numbers are. You may have a hard time getting there, and it just will be a stressful time. But the downside of getting there so early is you have so much time before your start line goes, because I'm not a fast runner, so I'm not in the beginning, and the people in the beginning corrals are more so the club RunDisney people that get those early numbers, or the people that have proof of time. And by the way, you do not have to have proof of time, but if you want to get in one of those earlier corrals and you have proof of time from another race, right, half marathon or marathon, then put that in, because you may get one of those earlier A or B corrals. When I used to do Run Disney, I'm a Disney Vacation Club member, so we were able to get in like the C corrals or the Sooner corrals, but now they don't do that anymore, early registration for DVC. So I don't know what I'm going to get at the Disneyland one. That's the first one I've registered for since that lack of early entry went into effect with DVC. So anyway, the buses do run between 3 and 5 a.m. and then the bus back, those run anywhere between 6:30 and 1:30, depending on what the race is. So you'll have transportation back too. You'll have plenty of time, like I said, if you leave at 3 a.m., plenty of time when you get there, stretch, bring some cash or a magic band. They don't really always accept credit cards, like you may want to get a drink or maybe a snack. They have pictures with characters ahead of time. It's dark outside, so the pictures might not be that great of yourself, but we all have, lights on our phones and everything. But it's just, it's going to be dark for a bit of time when you're there at 3 a.m. And then it's fun, though, if you have someone there to talk to, especially. So find your training group, maybe travel with somebody or follow the hashtag RunDisney on Instagram or Twitter, or follow Facebook groups, Run Disney, and then you can find your people and maybe hang out with them. What else? Oh, remember, I have a free packing guide. It's important to know ahead of time what you're going to need for your Run Disney event. You don't want to forget anything because it's expensive at the expo to get something you might have forgotten, or it's a pain to have something delivered. You can have things delivered via Amazon Prime or something like that. But if you want to really be prepared, check out my free PDF, which is the Run Disney Packing Guide. And you can get that by signing up for my newsletter. I just send out a monthly newsletter keeping you up to date on Run Disney, healthy meal planning, healthy training for Run Disney, and all from a doctor's and nutritionist perspective. So it's good information. Okay, don't forget to train. I have another video coming up for that. I think most of you would not forget to train, but I have another video coming up on that. Basically, it's more information than this, but I do like the Jeff Galloway training method, and that's the Magic Miles, and that always comes free as information and planning guides that you can download on the Run Disney site. So no need to recreate the wheel. He's an Olympian, great training, and he does a run, walk, run method, and I'll go into that in the other video I'll link above. But like I said before, plan your vacation days at the end after your events, because you're going to have more fun. You're not going to be too worn out, and you're going to be having to go to bed and get up early for that race. The next thing to remember is costumes. So I tend to just wear the marathon shirt, but people do like costumes. I sometimes will get a special shirt too. Like, you have to layer. That's another thing to mention, is you do have to layer because it's going to be cold before the sun comes up. You think cold everywhere in January. I'm a Floridian. It's not cold regularly when the sun comes up in Florida, but it could be, and it could be raining. So you definitely want to have your layers and have those prepared. If you want to leave your layers to the side, throw them away from the other runners while you're running or walking, and the Disney will collect them and donate them. But if you have a costume you want to wear, there's plenty of, I'll put some links down below to the Etsy shops I like to just look at. I usually wear a shirt, the Run Disney Marathon or half marathon shirt or the 10K. But on some of the shorter runs, I will sometimes wear a little costume. And there's some cute ones on Etsy, so I will link that also. But make sure you're comfortable in your costume. It's nothing too tight on your head, nothing uncomfortable. It's nothing dragging the ground. You're not allowed to do that anyway. And run in it ahead of time. You may look stupid running in your neighborhood in a Run Disney costume, but you'll be happy that you did, because you don't want to be wearing something really uncomfortable that you can't run in, particularly if you're running a longer race. The next thing would be to know what characters you may want to take pictures with. You can't, unless you're a super fast runner, you probably won't have the time to stop at every character. You probably don't want to stop at every character meet and greet or photo op. So know which ones you may want to pose with ahead of time. Watch the Run Disney videos. I stopped for, I think it was Lightning McQueen and Jack Sparrow, and I don't remember who else last time I did it. And there's just always different ones. So I try to choose different ones every time. But know ahead of time, say, I'm going to stop at 3, and these are the 3. And so you keep your pace going. I'm going to be talking about pacing and everything in my training video. So know that ahead of time. Also plan where you want to take pictures ahead of time. Maybe choose 3 spots. Like, you're going to be starting out, if you're doing the half marathon, for example, on the classic marathon weekend. You're going to be starting out in the Epcot parking lot, or one of the kind of close to the parking lot. Then one of your first places as the sun comes up, hopefully you're going to be seeing the castle and at the Magic Kingdom. So you may want to picture there. You may want to picture at the transportation gates when you come in, because they're pretty and well lit and it's dark outside. So know where you're going to stop. You don't want to be stopping all the time. You want to make sure you keep your pace. So know that the sites along the way that you may want to take pictures. I loved taking pictures all through Magic Kingdom because there's so many fun places. So have that planned. If you're doing the full marathon and you want to, some people, I haven't done this, but some people will stop at Everest, and when they go through Animal Kingdom around mile 13, I think, and they'll ride Everest. Now, I've never felt comfortable, I haven't done the full marathon actually, but I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that because I know with my half marathons, I need to keep my pace going, and I'm a slow runner. But the faster runners, the people that get started earlier, the people from Club Run Disney, may have the time. And you can ride the rides if the park is open, and Animal Kingdom does open at 9. So plan that accordingly. This only really applies if you're doing the full marathon or the challenge where you do all of the races and you end up doing the full marathon, but know what you want to ride and make time for that. Also, download music that is motivating for you ahead of time. I'm sure you would have thought of this, but just make sure you have it downloaded. You may not have access to internet while you're running. The Wi-Fi, as you probably know, at Disney sucks often. So have that ahead of time. Have your playlist. I downloaded a bunch of podcasts so I could listen to those, because those kind of keep me engaged throughout the whole time and help it go faster. And my friend I was with was running a lot faster than me, so we kind of separated, and that's fine to do too. But have something to entertain you if you do like to listen to things and you feel like you're comfortable with your headset in. I think I already said bring cash or your Magic Band at Disney World to purchase things. And then the expo, make sure you plan for the expo. I'm going to have a whole video on the expo as well, because it's its own beast, but there's a lot of fun things there. You can do a virtual queue for the expo ahead of time if you want to get the Run Disney merch. Some of it does sell out, but I think keep in mind that some of this Run Disney merch will be available later, so maybe you don't want to do that virtual queue or be too stressed about it. But the Run Disney Expo is fun. Try not to go the first day because it's really crowded. But go there, look around, get some pictures with characters, check out my video on the expo itself, and have fun. So thanks for joining me for the Run Disney planning video. I would love for you to join me for other Disney packing, planning guides that I will have available on this channel. And then for other Run Disney information and healthy Disney planning, special diets at Disney, special health needs at Disney. Those are all going to be on this channel. So thanks for joining me. Check out my pixiepacking.com website for more blogs and information, or join me on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram at Pixie Packing Travel Company. Would love to see you there. Drop me any questions or comments down below, and thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. Thanks again.